If it can be proven that they knew about this, then they can find themselves in hot water. I remember one occasion that stands out. I had a celebrity client come and look at that property. It's not always straight away that you've got an offer and you have to tell a buyer. Welcome to The Real Deal, where we'll cut through the property noise. I'm Gary Brazenor, Byron Shire's go-to agent. Here you'll get real market insights and selling tips to help you make smarter decisions. Ready to go? Let's get real. So today I'm talking about dodgy tactics that some real estate agents use. If you're looking for an agent who is transparent and honest, then please feel free to find my details in the show notes below, but let's jump into it. Number one, what's been in the news recently, which has been going crazy on socials, is an agent down in Sydney who talked about fake offers. He certainly talked about fake offers in a way that he doesn't use these, and there's no reason why an agent should be telling you there's been an offer on the property when there hasn't been already. Quite often it does just take a little bit of time to find the right buyer who connects with that property, who connects with that price range, and is ready to make an offer. It's not always straight away that you've got an offer and you have to tell a buyer there's an offer on this property to try and put pressure on that buyer. I concur with this agent, but I'd be naive to not believe that this does happen. It happens, I'm sure, quite a bit in real estate. I certainly haven't experienced it in my time. I've worked with a lot of agents over 25 years. I certainly don't use this tactic myself. In fact, remembering the truth is hard enough without having to remember lies that you've told various buyers or various sellers. So certainly my tactic is to remain transparent. If there hasn't been an offer on the property, then I'm very upfront with that. I don't believe that every property needs to necessarily have had an offer straight away on it. Quite often, as I say, and as this other agent said, the buyer just hasn't arrived yet and hasn't connected with the property. I remember one occasion that stands out, and there's been multiple, but this property in particular had been on the market with another agent for quite a length of time. I'd then taken over the listing, and again, there was a bit of a downtime in the market and had been on the market for a little while again. I had a celebrity client come and look at that property, and in the same couple of days, I had another client who had viewed the property also. I did receive an offer from the second client. The celebrity client came back with their entourage, and one of their entourage inferred to me when I said, you wouldn't believe it, but I did receive another offer. It's been on the market for 9 months. And this person who was instructing the celebrity said to me, well, yeah, I wouldn't believe that, and really sort of called me out as a liar at that time. I didn't actually engage with him about that accusation he had made. But we did go on to negotiate, and the celebrity did actually miss out on the property, so I'm sure he did realise I wasn't lying. In this regard, choosing your agent is vital. You want to choose an agent that you trust, that you gel with, because ultimately the buyer needs to gel with that agent and trust that agent as well. When you find an agent who the buyer trusts, then they will be guided by that agent, and generally you'll end up with a win-win situation where both parties are happy. I do see another tactic currently in the area where I'm selling where agents use contact agent, and then I hear from buyers that they've viewed the property and they question the agent on price, and the agent's response is, we're not sure, we're just trying to work out where the market sits on this property, or they're just very ambiguous and fluff over it. At the end of the day, the agent knows what the property is potentially worth. They've got an agency agreement. On that agreement, they've written down their opinion. They've had a discussion with the owner around price. So I'm not sure why all this ambiguity comes into it when pricing. The agent should actually be giving you an indication of price. At the end of the day, they have written something on their agency agreement. They should actually be transparent with this, but it doesn't happen a lot. So just be careful, do your research, make sure you understand the values. At the end of the day, you're the one signing the contract. You are the one who knows what that property is worth if you're the one who's ultimately signing a contract and purchasing that property. Underquoting is another dodgy tactic of agents. Obviously, this is used to put in a price that is very inviting to create as much competition as possible, and then ultimately, through an auction process, generally, will create competition and drive that price a lot higher. And quite often, it'll bring buyers in with an expectation that they've got an opportunity to buy this property in a price range. They'll spend money, they'll spend time, they'll get emotionally connected, only to find out that they miss out on the property completely and they're out by a mile because they don't have the capacity to go to the ultimate sale price. Fair Trade brought in some new rules around this quite a few years ago, where for us agents, we need to use a 10% price range. We used to use a lot of offers over, which was a similar kind of tactic in that you could put an unarguable price at the bottom and the expectation would be that they would create competition and again blow that price higher. Fair Trade have said now that we can, if we're using a price range, that can only be 10%. We can't use offers over. And if you are doing an auction, then whatever is on your agency agreement, as in the opinion, needs to be in the price guide as well. So hopefully that helps. A lot of buyers will lose and waste a lot of time and money with the underquoting process. There's been a high profile real estate agent recently in New South Wales who has just been done for hundreds of underquotings, and Fair Trade have gone right through him, which I think is fair enough. Just quickly, if you're thinking about selling but aren't sure what your home's worth, I've got you covered. I offer a free property strategy call to help you plan your next move with confidence. Check out my number in the show notes to learn more. Now, back to the episode. Material facts is another thing to look out for. Agents are obliged to pass on any material fact. A material fact can be anything from someone died in that property, it's been used as a drug lab prior to the sale, the property's flooded, the property's got significant structural defects. If the agent is aware of these things, these are material facts. These need to be passed on to the buyer at the time of purchase. If it can be proven that they knew about this, then obviously they can find themselves in hot water. Unnecessary advertising. From a seller's point of view, some of these things I believe that can be unnecessary. Quite often it is print media where the agency will, in this day and age, realestate.com domain, the online portals, the digital marketing, the digital targeted marketing is probably the more targeted way of finding your buyer these days, but a lot of people are still using the print media. Print media, in my experience, is great for finding sellers. What it advertises is the agent's branding, the agent's logo and company in the newspaper. In my experience, not a lot of your market is coming off the newspaper these days. There is certainly a percentage, but compared to the online digital targeted marketing or the big sites or the databases of these companies and local companies, it's a very small portion coming off the print media. So I do find that agents will sometimes push this to push their own branding into the newspapers so they can find themselves new sellers in the area rather than sell your property. Overpricing is certainly a tactic that is prevalent in the industry, and sometimes, in my experience, it's trained into new agents. The new agents generally haven't got a great deal to offer as far as experience, but they're fully motivated and they just want to get the business. So they go in, they agree with the expectation of the seller, they get it on the market at that price and then slowly chip away to reduce the price of your property to get it to a level to where ultimately it sells. This, not only does it cost you time, but it costs you money on the market. Ultimately, that period of time that you're on the market, you raise objections, and in my experience, generally you'll sell for less. After 25 years in the industry, I'm very transparent with my sellers. If they've got an expectation that's higher than market, I'm more than happy to take it on and have a crack. At the end of the day, it's not gospel what I tell people. It can sell higher, it can sell lower, but I certainly go in with transparency, with sales records, with current listings, to give them a good indication of where we feel it sits in the market. So when you're choosing your agent, be careful of some of these tactics. Choose your agent wisely. Choose your agent based on your own feel. Do you trust this agent? Don't choose your agent on promise. Choose your agent on process. Let the agent run you through recent sales, current listings. Hopefully this has been helpful. I've got some more information in the show notes in relation to when you're choosing an agent, the list of things to look out for. So feel free to look at that. My number's down there as well. If you wanted to reach out and chat to me anytime, feel free. If you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss property tips and market insights. For more support, check out the number in the show notes for a free strategy meeting. And don't forget to follow me on socials at Byron Lifestyle. Until then, see you at the next one.